When I was a teenager, I remember playing this really cool Harley Davidson arcade game made by Sega. I would later come to find out this game was called Harley Davidson and LA Riders. I was excited to hear that a Dreamcast port of the game was set for a 1999 release. I was then disappointed to find out that it was canceled. And with that, the game disappeared from my memory, never to be thought of again. That is until last year when I saw Harley Davidson Race to the Rally at a local flea market. I had never heard of it. Could it be similar to the once amazing arcade game I played back in the 90s? Well, the intro is kind of promising. Licensed music and actual clips of people riding Harleys. I will mention that this game has some of the worst load times I've seen on a PS2 game. But once you get to the main menu, you'll notice there's not a lot as far as game modes go, with the only option being Tour. And once you start a new tour, you'll have to race each level to advance to the next, placing third or better. You'll accelerate with X, change music tracks with circle and triangle, wheelie with L1, look behind you with L2, change view with R2, and boost with R1. And this boost is really the heart of the gameplay. The key to winning every race is boosting as much as possible, which in certain stages can be possible for the entire race. Boost can be earned by doing wheelies, nearly missing collisions with vehicles, and driving into oncoming traffic. And as long as you are in the oncoming traffic lane, you can boost non-stop. It builds faster than you can use it. It feels kind of cheap and makes the boost a not very rewarding feature, but I'd rather use it than not. The racing action feels very slow without it. Another way to earn boost is to knock an opponent off his or her bike. This can be done by pressing the left analog stick down to kick, but this can only be done when an opponent is nearby. Eventually, the game's little problems start showing, the first being the frame rate. This game experiences quite the bit of slowdown here and there for no apparent reason. The game is also very buggy at random times, usually when two riders come too close to each other. Another issue that I have are the stages. They're very realistic, but almost to a fault. They feel kind of boring, like a long road trip that feels endless. Most of these races are just way too long with not enough change of scenery, and again, it's realistic feeling for driving through the US on different highways, but it's just boring at times. With that being said, I really like the way the levels look. It seems a lot of time was put into the design of these stages. They can be pretty easy during long straight areas, but do require some strategy during the windy portions of the race. Colliding with a vehicle results in a pretty bad wreck. These will definitely chip away at your lead fast. I've been in first place, far ahead of my opponent, and crashed into an oncoming car only to be in fifth place in a matter of seconds. I don't even know where these other bikers come from, as you never really see them pass you. They just show the crash in a cinematic view and boom, you're in third or fourth or worse. After successfully completing each stage, you'll not only unlock the next race, but you'll also unlock the ability to purchase new bikes and upgrades. Upgrades consist of cosmetic additions as well as performance parts. These upgrades can be helpful but aren't completely necessary to keep winning. The bike selection, however, is pretty impressive, and I had fun unlocking these just to check them out in the game's menus. Like I mentioned at the game's intro, there is licensed music here, but not a lot of top 10 hits. The problem is, they're very proud of the hits they did get and really want you to notice them. So you'll hear Stroke Me and Magic Man a million times in a row unless you manually change the song yourself. And there is a lot of other good stuff here, so it's a shame they don't play more randomly. The bike engine sounds, and really all of the sound effects, sound really good, with the exception of the checkpoint sound that makes kind of a weird cell phone chirp. This game is pretty limited, and even with the overly long levels, it can be beaten rather quickly. I feel like a little more time in development could have led to a really good game, but that's not to say that this game is horrible, because it's really not. It just has some minor imperfections. At its price point, it's not a bad buy if you really like racing games, just don't expect too much. I've seen this game as low as 1 penny for a used copy and $17 brand new. It's definitely a cheap game.